So, pretty huge update from Pokemon Pocket today. We finally have the date for trading announced and the date for the newest expansion. The next expansion is going to be dropping on January 29th or 30th, depending on your time zones. Trading is going to be coming out on the 28th. The next expansion is going to be about 140 cards, and we have 11 new cards that we're going to be going over today. Alright, first we have the heavy hitters of the 4th generation of Pokemon. We've kind of weirdly skipped from a mostly Generation 1 expansion to a mostly Generation 4, but for me this is about the age I was when I started liking Pokemon, so I imagine I'm in a lot of similar boat with a lot of other people. I definitely, have some Dialga and Palkia cards sitting in some binders at home. But first we have Diala EX, 150 HP for a Steel type. We finally get a EX Steel type here. 2 Metal Energy for Metallic Turbo for 30 damage. Take 2 Metal Energy from your Energy Zone and attach it to one of your Pokemon. And Heavy Impact, 2 Metal Energy and 2 Colorless Energy to do 100. Weakness to Fire. Big basic. Seems pretty great in terms of it gets to accelerate some energy, which not a lot of cards can in the game, and usually that leads to a competitive deck with Gardevoir or Superior. But 4 for 100, not really too exciting. 150 HP, while big, is going to be a little awkward since it's one-tapped by Mewtwo EX. Maybe we'll see some more metal support. I expect some more metal support. But overall, not the most exciting Dialga EX card. What I think is going to be probably more effective and more exciting is Palkia EX. Palkia EX, 150 HP, 2 Retreat, weakness to Lightning. Does Slash for 1 Water Energy and Dimensional Storm for 150 for 3 Water Energy and 1 Colorless. Discard 3 Water Energy from this Pokemon. This attack also does 20 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So this is going to be something that is useful in sort of water box type decks. Finally, a big basic. Gyarados, you have to play the Magikarp down. Starmie, you have to play the Staryu down. Palkia X, you just chuck this down. You can start hitting for 30, eat up some attacks, and maybe towards the end of the game, you have a Misty or something like that to get this powered up, hit for 150. Maybe you Vaporeon to move some cards on here, but really kind of do a ton of damage all over your opponent. Alright, I'm a big fan of fighting type cards, and they're in a bit of a pickle, mostly because they're not able to do quite enough damage. Luckily, we have Lucario here, who has 100 HP, 2 Retreat, weakness is Psychic, but with the ability Fighting Coach, attacks by your fighting Pokemon do plus 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and also it has an attack, 2 Fighting to do 40, not that exciting. But with this ability, your Aerodactyl EX is now doing 100 damage, and your Primeape is doing 70 if you're using the 1 energy Primeape, or it's maybe doing 120, right? Now that you have the, if you have the damaged Primeape from the base set. It also says that this, or it doesn't say that this effect can't stack. So you can have 2 of these, plus you can have a Giovanni to add 50 damage to your fighting Pokemon's attacks, which start to make them a lot more threatening, start to be able to push up numbers like other sort of competitive decks. Okay, the other cards that are sort of clearly revealed in this trailer are the starters, Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. We just get the basics, so we can't see much there, but I did want to show you what these type of cards traditionally look like in the regular Pokemon trading card game. So to get a general idea, here's some Infernape cards. The most recent one is a little different than how it usually goes, but usually Infernape attacks for 1 or 2 energy, deals a ton of damage, but probably has a big downside, usually involving discarding a bunch of your own energy. For instance, the original Infernape really broke out onto the scene, being able to do 2 energy for 90 damage. And this most recent one, while its ability is a bit different, being able to do 200 with 3, I expect to see something similar where Infernape is some type of cheap attacker. Torta is a little different, but generally it's sort of like a grass type. It's going to have a big retreat cost, most likely. It's going to probably be able to heal with one of its attacks, and it's probably going to have the highest HP pool out of any of the starters. Then there is Empoleon. Empoleon really doesn't have much of a consistent sort of personality across different Pokemon cards. If I had to guess, the diving draw and attack command Empoleon was really popular when it was around. Being able to both discard a card to draw 2, and its 1 energy attack does 10 damage for the times the number of Pokemon in play. In the regular game, that would be doing a lot more since the benches are bigger, but in Pokemon Pocket, it'd be doing maybe 60 or 70, maybe 50 sometimes, and that's kind of in the range of Beedrill. But obviously that card would be a little too strong with the diving draw ability as well. Or maybe not. Because once you get this up, I mean, how much you really want to draw? So I really have no idea what to expect from Empoleon. All its cards are pretty different. But yeah, those are the cards that are sort of very clearly revealed. After that, we can do some educated guessing on some partially revealed cards. Pachirisu is almost entirely revealed, except we don't know its HP total. I imagine it's going to be fairly low, probably 120, 110. It has 1 retreat cost. Most likely it's going to be weak to fighting. And it has Sparking Gadget. For 2 lightning energy, it does 40 damage, plus 40 more damage if it has a Pokemon tool attached. Now, not only does this confirm that Pokemon tools will be in the game, and in this expansion, it's just sort of a solid card that maybe we'll be putting in our Pikachu decks over maybe a Zapdos EX or something. Because 2 for 80 is a pretty decent rate when you don't have to do too much setup. But yeah, Pokemon tools are coming. We kind of knew this for a while, since in the filter, since the game came out, there was a thing that said filter only Pokemon tools. So not too much of a surprise. If I had to guess what kind of Pokemon tools would be coming, I imagine it's something like an EXP share, where once your Pokemon gets knocked out, you can move an energy to one of your bench Pokemon. Air Balloon to reduce the retreat cost of one of your Pokemon. Seems pretty standard. Silver Bangle. This is a bit of a reach, but it allows you to do more damage to Pokemon EX. This is usually an effect that's usually in the game, so I imagine something like Silver Bangle will be coming in. Next, we see a Leafeon, which I feel like will also confirm that there's also going to be a Glaceon. It's another evolution. It has 90 HP. We can't see the retreat cost. I can't imagine it being too high. It does 90 damage for 1 grass and 1 colorless energy. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. 2 for 90, as we've seen in Pikachu, is pretty efficient. This kind of goes with the other evolution cards in that you don't actually need, 2 of the correct energy to use this attack. You just need 1 grass and 1 colorless. So maybe you could put this, you know, in a deck mixed with other types. The other card that we see in the same screenshot is Honchcrow. We can't see the energy cost, but we can see that it has 100 HP and 2 retreat cost. I imagine it'll be weak to lightning. Skill Dive does, it's a little hard to read, but it does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. If I had to guess, 1 darkness energy, maybe 1 darkness, 1 colorless, but that doesn't seem like that's going to be too expensive. Okay, we also have Cynthia. This turn, the attacks of your Garchomp and Togekiss do plus 50 damage, which confirms that we'll be getting Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss in this expansion. But plus 50 damage is pretty crazy compared to Blaine and Giovanni. But this looks to be probably a pretty strong card. But I guess the difference between this and those other cards is that Togekiss and Garchomp are stage 2 Pokemon, so they're going to be a little slower to get out. Speaking of Garchomp, we also see Gibble here doing 60 with 60 health. Probably going to do what, like 10 damage or something. Not too terribly exciting. We won't be able to, you know, see what Garchomp is probably for a while. But if I had to guess, Garchomp usually is able to do a lot of damage for a fighting and a water. Like with this one, with Mock Cut. And there's sometimes discarding something from your deck involved. The most famous one of all is Garchomp C level X, which is able to heal and also snipe your opponent's bench. I'm not sure which one we're going to be getting, what type we're going to be getting, whether it's going to be a regular Garchomp, whether it's going to be an EX. But definitely a fan favorite. Excited to see where we go from there. Cresselia also appears. We have another big basic psychic here. Not too exciting. 110 HP is nice for a basic, but 2 psychic energy to deal 50 damage and heal 20. I don't think is going to move the needle very much. There's too many good psychic Pokemon. And with that, that's it. So